In this video, we are going to go deep into JSX. As I promised you, in this series, we are going to learn a lot about JSX. So let's get started. So, as you know, as I previously explained, browsers don't understand like JSX. They don't understand the return, P, anything like so. How do they understand it? There is a configuration called Babel. I'm just telling you for reference. We can go deep into Babel, but I think that is kind of out of scope of this video. I want to keep this series lean just so you get basic understanding of React without going too much into details, because if you go, then you probably just confuse yourself more. So for now, just for your information, if you want to convert your JSX into HTML, you will use something called Babel. Babel will convert your JSX into JS, and that JS can be understood by browsers. Okay, that thing is done. So before we do that, let me or paste this code. Okay, so I'm inside this home slash page.tsx, right? So what's happening here is we have this use client. What it does. So basically what's happening here is every single page, the page.tsx we create in Next.js is a server side page. It's a server side component. So what's going on here is this page will be rendered on server and then it will be thrown to the client. Now you're like, I don't understand what's going on, which is fine. For now, you just need to know that if we are going to do any kind of event handling or something like that, we should use the use client directive. I hope it is easy to understand because these things happen on the browser, not on the server. Server just sending us the HTML. Take this HTML server saying, if we want to do something on the server, then we have to make a request to the server. So we can't do that on server. That's why it's complaining. It was complaining if I remove that. Let me show you what's happening. If I remove that and I go here and I go to this root home, see, event handler cannot be passed to a client component props. So if you need interactivity, consider converting part of this into client component. This is what I'm saying. So that's why we used the use client. If I go back, now everything is rendering here perfectly. Good. Now, what's going on here? Let's understand that. So pretty static. We have h1, we have button, we have divs, pretty basic HTML. If you just kind of remove this return statement, it feels like it's HTML page. But this data, just assume that coming from an external API. I hope you know like basics of API. So API gives you data which your client, like just like a React, can take it and show it on the page, right? Just a basic definition, understanding what an API is. So that we're just assuming like this coming from API. When it comes in API, it doesn't be in this format, probably in JSON. So how can we make this more dynamic rather than static? Because let's see, my name is John, I'm 20 years old. This is all static content. So let me change some part of this code. First of all, let's remove that h1 and put this. Now it's complaining, what is this name variable? Where is it? Now let's create a variable const name, which is of type string, and let's give it a value John. If we save it, come here. Now my name is, it's not showing. It's showing now. Sorry, there was some error with it. So my name is John. Nothing changed. Previously it was John, right? But now we have a variable. Now we can control things. It's dynamic. This name could be coming from some external source, and this not John. Maybe it's Jamie, or maybe it's my name Saran. Like who knows what's this name is, right? That's not the issue here. Issue is like it's dynamic. So we put this curly braces and we passed that variable. We passed that JavaScript variable into those curly braces, and now it renders. So this is the magic of JSX. So you put inside these curly brackets and you put your variable, and we can do, let's say, how would you do that? Let's say we put age here, and now Yes, what we can do, we can create a variable age, give it a type of number, and it will be equal to 20. Now, if we come here, we refresh it, it's still showing 20 because it's taking this age variable. Now, what about like these ULLI? How can we change that? Maybe we can create an array, right? This looks like an array of strings. So we can create like hobbies, and which will be array of string, and this is equal to, that's the first one, it's coding. That's the second is reading, if I can spell it, and third is traveling. Now, how would we render an array? That's interesting, right? We can't just do hobbies dot what. How can you pass the indexes, right? So how can we do that? There's a neat way of doing this. Let me show you that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put inside curly braces. We put hobbies dot map, and we will put, and we need to pass an anonymous function, right? So let's say it's a single hobby. I don't know how do you spell hobby, right? HOBBI or HOB. I think it's BPY. Let's assume it is BPY. And what we can do, we can create some li here, right? And inside that we can put hobby. Now, if I save it, let's see what happened. We can still see those. We can still see those hobbies: coding, reading, traveling. Pretty good. Now it's complaining. It's saying missing a key prop from element in iterator. So what is going on here? So if we check the console here, console, if we go, if I remove that, um, each child in a list should have a unique key prop. So the way React works, the way React renders list is it tracks the keys. Let's say you have 10 items and you swapped second and third. The way React thinks, because it needs to optimize, right? Let's say you swap it, then it has to do all the calculation again and give you the new list. The way it tracks is like it compares the keys. If you just compared like second and third key, like you swapped it, then React will compare, okay, only second and third is changed, rest is same. So I don't need to do much calculation. And that gives us good performance. So right now, it is working because there's just three items, right? Imagine you're doing some calculation and there's a million lines of code. I'm just giving an example, maybe like 1,000 or 100 even, right? And you swapping, or you're like you creating some kind of application. How do you track that? You need a key so that React knows, okay, this key changes. So let's give it a key. We can give a key equal to, maybe we'll give it a, we'll just pass the hobby as the unique key. And if we come here, now that error is gone. We don't have that error. We have some hydration error, and we'll talk more about when we need to discuss it, but you can safely ignore it for now. So I just give a key is just like the coding, right? Or the values of an array. This is not recommended, but we're going to go deep into listing when we're going to talk about list, how to render list in React. So I'm not going too deep into it, but we just pass a key for a sake, and we can pass key like a random number. And there are a lot of ways to pass keys, right? So I'm not too much concerned right now because that's not what we are trying to optimize for. We are trying to optimize the learning for overall like JSX. And when it comes to the sections of it, then we're going to talk more about that. All right. Now everything looks good. We can safely remove that, save it, and everything should be fine. Yep, everything is good here. Okay. Um, can we do better? Can we even do better than this? I think we can. Let's do something else. Let's create a person object, right? This object, and let's remove this data. Now, what we can do instead of name, what we can write? We can write person dot name, and similarly, we can add person here. Let me copy that and that and that, and if I save it, now everything is same. So what I did and why I did that, this is just a good practice. I mean, putting individual variables kind of tedious. Now we have this one object and you can add properties here, right? I mean, pretty easy to bug fix. If you have, let's say, something wrong in the data, then you can see I just have one object and you can like put this object somewhere which has a lot of properties, and this is way neat and clean. Yeah, so just wanted to show you like how to like write a little bit of better React code or JSX per se, because we're talking about it. Yeah, I think this is it. I want to keep it short. Yeah,